Alright, this is the Honors Purple book, Chapter 2, Lesson 4. This is variables on both sides, and I have some special occasions here of what may happen if you have variables on both sides. So to review, we're going to start it the same way we have since last chapter: leave, change, opposite, distributive property, combine like terms on each side of the equation. Nothing combines. So I have variables on both sides. Those of you who have done hands-on equations, you know if you had pawns on both sides, you didn't want them on both sides, so we need to subtract one set. So I tend to subtract the smaller set, so I'm going to subtract 4b from both sides. If I subtract 4b, they're gone from that side. When I subtract 4b over here, remember we do the same thing to both sides, I'm left with 6b plus 20 equals negative 2. And so now we're just in a two-step algebraic equation. So either you set up a rainbow or you do it with cancellation. I'm going to do this one with cancellation. So they did this, then this, so I undo it, subtract 20 from both sides. Those cancel out. I'm left with 6b equals negative 22. I divide by 6, divide by 6, and I'm left with b equals negative 11 6, which would be negative 1 and 5/6. b equals negative 1 and 5/6. Alright, so let me do that again. Here's another problem. Leave, change, opposite. Distributive property, 18b plus negative 12 equals 18b plus 45. I have variables on both sides, and you might notice, because we've already talked about this, the coefficient is the same and the variable is the same. So when I do subtract 18b from both sides, you end up with this. Negative 12 equals 45. We have a problem there because negative 12 does not equal 45. So what we have here is an empty set, or there's no real solution. There's no real number that makes this a true statement. Okay, so let's try another one. Leave, change, opposite. Don't have any distributive property. Combine like terms. 30 and 32 becomes 32. Now I have variables on both sides. You might notice they match up again, kind of like the 18b and the 18b from last time, but when I subtract 20p from this side and subtract 20p from this side, I get 32 equals 32. Now this is different. Remember on the last one we got negative 12 equals 45, which was an untrue statement, which made an empty set. 32 equals 32. This is called identity, or all real numbers. Any real number that you put in for p would give you a correct answer here, or would equal, because these two are worth the exact same amount. So we have three options. Either you get an answer, you get an empty set when you end up with something like this, negative 12 equals 45, or you get an identity where when they cancel out both sets of variables, you get the same constant equals the same constant. And I always say it this way: 32 equals 32. Of course it does. That's its identity. And so I want to do one story problem. If they ever tell you something like the perimeter is the same, what they're telling you is that is an equation, right? The perimeter of this one equals the perimeter of this one. So I would have x plus 10, that'd be 2x plus 20, plus another 6x would be 8x plus 20. Here I have 3x minus 2, and I have 4 of those sides, right? So that'd be 12x minus 8, and I have these two as equal. So variables on both sides. I'll go ahead and do my leave, change, opposite. Variables on both sides, so I'm going to subtract 8x, which changes this to a 4x, right? When I subtract 8 of those x's, I have 4x. Now we're in a two-step equation. So this time I'll do it with rainbow. There was this x that they took times 4. They added negative 8, and they got 20. So let me undo that by subtracting negative 8, which is the same as leave, change, opposite, adding 8, hitting equals on my calculator, and dividing by 4. So 20 plus 8 is 28. 28 divided by 4 is 7. So x equals 7. Now make sure you go back and answer the question. I didn't ask a question on this one, but I might say something like, what are the dimensions? So if x is 7, well, that means this is 17 and this is 21. And this would have been 3 times 7 is 21, minus 2 is 19. So we have a square of 19. We have a rectangle that's 17 by 21.